Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Product Webinar. I'm your host, Janessa Yeomans. I am the demand manager for our marketplace team here at Vendasta. And on the line with me is Kevin Batchelor, the CEO of Visual Visitor. Thanks for joining me, Kevin.
Thanks for having me, Janessa.
And we are here to talk to you about Marketplace. For anyone that's not familiar with Marketplace, it's the place to go if you are looking to grow your revenue. Vendasta's white labeled Marketplace offers the best in class digital products and services for you to sell to local businesses. We've done all the work for you. We've brought in a bunch of these really great solutions. So all you have to worry about is taking them out into your market and growing your revenue. If you're unfamiliar with Marketplace, which majority of you shouldn't be anymore, you can just head over to the Marketplace tab in Partner Center. That is where, under the products, you can see something like Visual Visitor, which we're going to be talking about today. And every product that you do see in there is a new revenue stream. So just keep that in mind, whether it's something you are currently selling and maybe want to switch over for that better deal, or it's something you're not currently selling, but your clients are getting elsewhere. It's another stream for your team and that you can bring in. So now I'm actually going to hand it over to Kevin, and he is going to take us through Visual Visitor.
Well, thank you, Janessa. And thank everyone else for joining us today. I know your time is very valuable, and I'm excited to talk to you a little bit about Visual Visitor, give you a little bit of our background, but mainly talk about and demonstrate our new feature that we've just released. So Visual Visitor is anonymous visitor identification. It's a lot like caller ID for your website. But I thought I would start with just a little bit of history about Visual Visitor. You know, I would love to say that we set out to change the industry and we had all these great things in mind, but it didn't really happen that way. It was my brother and I, we were working on a project together, and we wanted to identify the businesses that were visiting a particular website that we were working on. And out of that came the concept of Visual Visitor. And, you know, here we are many years later, we're software as a service and proven by over 2,000 paying customers. So what exactly is it that we do? So our core product is anonymous visitor identification. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a second, but it's like caller ID for your website. And for those of you on the line, do you remember what it was like back before we had caller ID? The phone would ring and we would have no idea who was calling us. So we had no information to make any decisions on. We just simply had to answer the phone and take the call. Now we have caller ID. So when somebody calls us, we have the ability to change the tone in which we answer. We can send them the voicemail. We have lots of options because we're armed with that information. We're simply doing that same thing for your website. And we're gonna cover the importance of that in just a second. We also have a lot of other great features built into our product, such as, you know, email campaign tracking, form captures integration, as well as an integration point with Zapier. So if you can imagine taking any of the data that we produce out of Visual Visitor and being able to integrate it with over 700 different applications. So as visitors come to your site, we have the ability to send that to, say, your CRM system or your email campaign system, whatever system you would like. Sky's the limit. So anonymous visitor identification and its importance. You know, we're all familiar with the concept of spending thousands of dollars on your web presence and then thousands more dollars on driving the right kind of traffic to your web presence to get the kind of contacts that you need. And you couple that with the change in the buyer's journey over the last several years. You know, it used to be that the buyers would call and engage and allow the sales folks to walk them through the process of framing up their problem and applying a proper solution. Now, with all the information being on the web and on your websites, people tend to go out and just do their own research. And then by the time that they call you, you really are in the last part of the buying stage. So what we want to do with Visual Visitor, and what the core of the product is really about, is providing the information to your sales folks about which companies are visiting your site and what are the contacts at that company, so that your salespeople can pick up the phone, get in touch with the company, and start the relationship earlier on in the buyer's journey while they're still framing out their problem and doing the research. And that allows for your sales team to have that engagement through the entire, problem framing process in the buyer's journey. So that is really the core of our product and where we started. And we're going to talk about how the new features that we're adding are kind of going to build on that. So how does Visual Visitor work? It's really simple. When you sign up for an account, we give you a small bit of JavaScript code that goes on your site. Whenever a visitor comes to your site, it activates the code on your site and sends us a little bit of data. We take that data and we research through all of our data sources to provide your sales folks the company name, phone numbers, contacts, and the products and services that they're looking at on your website. We provide that to you in an email in real time while they're still on your site. This gives your sales team the opportunity to reach out through an email, through a phone call, through a LinkedIn contact, to try and start that relationship with the prospect while they're still doing the research. And I think that the best way to really envision this product is through one of our success stories. So we have one of our customers called us the other day, a company by the name of Zartman Construction. I think they're out of Pennsylvania. The vice president of sales got an alert while he was sitting at his desk that one of the large companies down the street was looking at their site at equipment rental. So he picks up the phone, he gives the guy a call, starts a great conversation, and that call and that relationship 2 weeks later led to a $100,000 equipment rental deal for him. And he got it because he knew who was on his site, and he was able to pick up the phone, make the call, and start the relationship. Had he not had that, he has stood a really good chance of missing out on that opportunity. So what does the identification process look like for Visual Visitor? And, how is this really different than analytics? So analytics takes, it's a lot of great data for marketing. People love all the analytics around, who's coming to which page, how long they're staying. But Visual Visitor is really focused on arming your sales staff with the right information about the companies that are visiting your site and the contacts around them. So the way it works is we collect data from telecommunications providers worldwide and a lot of other data sources that provide contact data and such. And when we get that request that somebody's visiting your website, we gather information from all these sources, compile it all, and send it to your salespeople in an email. So it's company name, address, possible contacts of the company that include name, phone numbers, email address, LinkedIn information, all the page view information about what they're looking at while they're on your site, any keyword and campaign information to let you know what they were searching on when they were looking for your site, as well as a ton of quick links for looking up additional information on that company, like their Facebook page, any information listed in Google and Twitter, to allow your sales staff to have instant access to that data without ever having to retype a request. So that's a summary of what Visual Visitor does. But now I want to talk about our new feature, and it's email tracking for Gmail and Outlook. It's email tracking for your everyday emails. So we brought this solution forward from a lot of talking with a lot of sales staff, and the sales staff typically suffers from what we call email anxiety. And, we see it all the time. Everybody has it. We craft this perfect email, we attach a proposal or whatever it may be, and we send it, and then we sit and we wait. And we think, gosh, did they get the email? Did they open it? Do they have any questions? Should I call them? and everybody goes through that same cycle because it's so important to make the sale, to have the right communication, the right timing on all of that. And what we're doing is we're arming the sales staff with the ability to have all of that information at their fingertips. So the sales staff will know what happens after they click send. Who's opening their email? When was it opened? How many times was it opened? How long did it take them to open it the first time? And we do this without any of the annoying read receipt messages. So everybody in one shape or form is probably doing some type of message tracking today or in the past. In the past, people used to use the read receipt method, which would nowadays causes that really annoying pop-up. I'm sure you guys have seen it, that your sender has requested a read receipt and you have to click the message every time you open the email. Nobody wants to do that anymore. But all of the large email campaign companies, Constant Contact, MailChimp, all of those guys are using the same type of email tracking that we're using today, which is a simple tracking image inside of the email. We're just bringing that down to a client level to allow the sales staff to use that. Now, we've also added in some additional time-saving features, as well as some features to allow you to gain insight into the emails that you're sending. So inside of this new feature, we've added templates for commonly sent emails, so you don't have to retype the same email or even cut and paste. We have a template system that's built right in to allow you to use commonly sent emails. You can share your templates with team members. You can view your activity streams of all the tracked messages that you've sent. You can see statistics around the emails that you've sent and receive instant notifications. If you look down here in the bottom right, there's an example. But we're going to see an example in real time as I get to the demo. Now, we've brought all this back together with Visual Visitor to include tagging of these users. So as you're sending out tagged emails from Outlook and Gmail, we scan the email to see if there are any links to your website. And when we find a link to your website, we tag that link. So say, for instance, you have a link in your signature line that goes back to your website, and you send an email to John Smith at ABC Company. If John Smith clicks on that link in your signature that goes to your website, he'll be tagged. So what that means is anytime John Smith comes back to your website, you're going to get an email that says, John Smith at ABC Company is back on your website, because he'll be tagged and you're always going to know when he returns. It's a really great feature, and it brings it all back together into the Visual Visitor Suite. And it really helps with that email anxiety. So how do we get started? So after you sign up for a Visual Visitor account, there's a Getting Started section. And it's really just as simple as a 30-second install. You authenticate, and then you start tracking messages. So if you're using Gmail, you click on the Gmail link and it takes you to the Chrome store for a Chrome plugin. If you're using Outlook, you click on the Outlook link and it downloads a small executable to install a plugin to your Outlook. You simply authenticate into the settings box, and now when you go to your Compose window, you'll see you have additional options for tagging messages. And I'll show you all of this in real time in just a moment. And today we support Gmail and Outlook 2010 or greater with either Office 365 or any Exchange server. So as we were going through all this, we of course had feedback from salespeople that were using the tool, and what did they typically use it for? And some of the things are kind of funny. We thought we would share. So one of the very first things that the salespeople used the tool for was to say, who's looking at my proposal, and how can I use this to gauge the temperature of my prospect? So like we said in the beginning, you craft that great email, you attach the proposal, you send it, and you wait. With this new tool, you're going to know when they open it, when did they first open it, and how many times they've opened it. So obviously, it's going to allow you to gauge the temperature of your prospect. You know, like for instance, if you send a proposal out and somebody opens it, 5 times in the first 10 minutes versus you send a proposal out and somebody opened it once in the last 48 hours. Definitely different temperatures to those prospects, right? The next great one is, hey, did you see my last invoice? It's common in HR and in business for you send out an invoice and maybe it gets lost or mishandled, but at least now you know when you're following up on those invoices whether or not they read the email and how they're moving forward. Another great use is, did you just forward my proposal to my competitor? That was one of the great things we ran across with one of the companies that we were beta testing with. Was they had a competitor, a very common competitor in San Antonio, and they were tracking a message on a proposal they sent out, and within 15 minutes, they got a response that the proposal they just sent out was now in San Antonio, and it really led them to start asking some questions. So there's other things around, do my introduction emails really work? So that we have all kinds of different statistics around your messages. So with this, I would really like to just jump right into a demo to show you guys how this works in real time so that you can get a feel for how all this fits together. So here I've got Outlook. And we'll start with Outlook, and then I'll jump over to Gmail. But actually, before that, it would be great to show you the dashboard. So when you log in to Visual Visitor through your Vendesta portal, you'll see all of your common stats. And we've done another webinar that has really wrapped up everything else about Visual Visitor up to this point without this new feature. And if you have more questions, we have that online, don't we, Janessa?
Yeah, we do. As well as I would recommend anybody that is on the line that has Visual Visitor. There's some really great walkthrough videos right within the product that I know I go back to quite a bit.
Yes, anywhere you see a help button inside of Visual Visitor, it is a context-sensitive video-based help system. Thank you for bringing that up. So when you log in, you'll see the client email section. And if you click Getting Started, it's really simple. If you're using Gmail, you simply click on the Gmail section and it takes you right to the Chrome store. And I already have it installed but disabled. You would just click this button right here to say Install on Chrome. If you're running Outlook, you simply click here and it will download an executable for you to install it in Outlook. You authenticate, you get your different compose windows, and then you get your notifications. It's just as simple as that. I'll come back to the dashboard section after we send a couple of emails. So in Outlook, the first time that you come into Outlook after you do the installation, you'll see a little Visual Visitor settings icon on your main toolbar. So when you click that, you'll see, if it's your first time, you'll actually see your credential settings. So you could come in here, all you would do is enter your credentials and authenticate. After you authenticate, you'll be taken to your settings that allow you to set, send me email notifications when a tagged email is read. You can set to only send me a maximum number of emails. So sometimes when you send out an email, people can get really aggressive around forwarding that email around and lots of people opening it. So you can get a lot of feedback from people opening an email. So we added a feature that allows you to limit the number of emails that you receive on that. You can enable desktop notifications for messages being read and for visitors visiting your website. So both of those actions will cause a pop-up in your lower right-hand corner, which you'll see in just a second when we send an email. So after it's installed and you authenticate, when you go to compose a new email, you'll see a new option up here for Visual Visitor. And it's just as simple as track this message. And if you would like to use a template, you click on your templates and select a template. So these are the different folders. So default, email, beta, and shared are some different folders that I have. I'm just going to select to use a signature just for the sample of doing this. And it was as simple as that. The template fills out your email for you. And let's just send it to myself. And let's send it. Okay, as soon as I receive that email, all right, keep an eye on the lower right-hand corner down here. I'm going to open it, and you'll see instantly, the second that I've opened it, the notification pop up in the lower right-hand corner that I have just read this message. Now, we've also received a response that said we have read this message, and we're also going to get a notification from Windows. So we'll get both an email and an instant notification. So it looks very similar when we look at it on Chrome. So you'll also get an email notification that says, here's the email that you sent. You sent it to me. This is a test. I opened it at 3:23 p.m. I opened it one time, and I opened it 16 seconds after I first sent it, and my location when I opened it. Now for Chrome, if you'll give me 1 second, I need to just re-enable my plugin. And I'm going to close out Outlook so we don't get double notified. So now when I hit compose inside of Gmail, well, actually, let me show you. So when you install the Chrome plugin, you'll see the very same thing up here in the upper right-hand corner in your Chrome browser. When you first go in, you'll see to enter your credentials, and then you'll be taken right to the configuration options, very same options that you have in Outlook, and very similar look and feel. So now when you go to compose inside of Gmail, you see that you have a little section added to your compose bar, and that is to tag a message and to select a template to use. And we can say, same thing, select a signature, very same process. And it's as simple as that. So now your sales staff can have complete feedback from all of your emails that you're sending out. It's all built into the product. It tags all of your links to tag all of your visitors, and it answers those questions around who's opening your emails and when. And it does it without any annoying read receipt responses, and it's completely seamless. And it uses the same technology that's used in the very large email campaign systems. It's just brought down to a client-based level. And with that, returning to the presentation, it's really, do we have any questions?
We've got a couple, but before we get into those, do you want to just show a little bit of the dashboard and what it looks like when...
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Nope.
Let me jump back to the dashboard. Thanks for bringing that up, because I meant to come back to that. So as you're sending all of these emails, we're collecting data around how many emails that you tagged, how many templates did you use, what is the average time for your email to be opened in minutes. So this is also tracked by day and minutes by open time by day. So here are your most commonly opened emails. And you can see, you can click on any of these and see, who you sent it to, what the subject was, if you used the template, how long it took them to open the first time, and then how many, what are the timestamps that they open the email additionally. So you can change the date range, and you can have a really good understanding of just some general statistics around your email. Now, you also have the ability to look at your entire tracked email stream. So as you're sending emails and people are opening and you're sending them, you'll have all of the data here in your stream. And you can come in here and you can do a filter to evaluate, if you're looking for a particular message, and you can see that, hey, here's the message I was looking for, and it was first opened 6 seconds after I sent it, and that's when it was opened. All the information that you would like. And you also have the ability to create templates and folders to store your templates, and the ability to share your templates with your teammates. So here, if you remember the signature that I was using, here's a copy of the signature. And we can come in here and say we wanted to add a default subject, or we wanted to share it amongst our team members. We could do that very simply. So if we go to add a template, we just give it a name, put it in a folder that we choose, give it a subject if we wish, and some content. And you have the ability to get very granular with your content, as well as edit the HTML of your content. So there's a lot of granularity around adding templates and their look and feel. So now, do we have any questions?
Yeah, we do have quite a few questions, so we'll try and get through as many as we can here.
Okay.
A couple questions around the tagging. Is it automatic, and how does it integrate with the website, and if you have Visual Visitor on the website?
That's a great question. So the way the tagging works is, as you're sending out messages, it's looking for links to your website. So if you come into your normal configuration and you add a domain, so if it were something like Visual Visitor, right? Mm-hmm. As long as the domain is listed in your domain, then it will search your email for that domain. When it finds that domain, it's going to add what's called a query string to the end of the link. And we're going to look for that whenever your request comes to your website. Visual Visitor is programmed to look for that. So that's how it gets integrated into Visual Visitor. So it will know this really long number is John Smith at ABC Company, and this is the link that it belonged to. So you're going to get an email notification from Visual Visitor that that individual has just clicked that link. And not only that, anytime they ever return to Visual Visitor, it's going to tell you exactly who it was.
Perfect. Another question. This one, I'm just going to read it straight out. If using a pixel, I understand that there were issues with false reads or multiple reads from things like email scanning software, multiple email clients, mobile. Is this similar here?
Yes, we're using the same technology, and it's not going to be perfect, but it does give you some really great insight into who's reading and when. So you're going to have all of the same types of issues that you have today with like Constant Contact and MailChimp, but it does really help you gain an understanding of who's reading your email and approximate geographic location of where they are.
Perfect. One question about Gmail, is it only on Chrome? Is it available to use on Firefox and Safari? And in brackets, it says some of our customers are stubborn.
Yes, we understand that. And we actually have been developing for Firefox. However, Firefox has been changing how they're doing plugins for Firefox, so that has slowed that development down. But we do have that on our roadmap.
Perfect. And one last question here, and I think I can help on this one too, is just asking how it's different from other tracking software. And they use the example of MailTrack or Boomerang. I'll let you speak a little bit, Kevin, but I think the biggest thing from our end is that you're getting the full power of Visual Visitor. You're getting that tracking on your website. It's not just an email tracking system. You're getting so much more with it.
Absolutely. And that is really where it all comes back together is, it's great to track emails and it's great to track email campaigns, but it's bringing that tracking back together with a visitor identification system that is completely integrated that provides a bigger picture and greater value back. And this is integrated into the platform and available at the same price. So we have not raised the price on the product. We have just simply included this as an additional feature.
Yeah, absolutely. Great, great value there. Well, that was all the questions. So really for everybody on the line, next steps, head into Marketplace, enable the product to take a quicker look, activate it. I would really recommend everyone activate it for yourself. Test it out on your own website. You start using that email client. There's a lot of power behind Visual Visitor, and I know the partners that we have that are currently using it, it's already becoming invaluable to them. If you do have any additional questions, reach out to your partner success manager and they can help you out. Other than that, Kevin, thank you so much for taking us through this and for the demo. It was really great.
Thank you, Janessa, and thank everyone for attending today.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone, and have a great weekend.